10,000 years ago, the ancestor of the demon world, the Dark Heaven Demon Emperor, was surrounded and killed by various gods, and a generation of gods and demons fell from grace. 10,000 years later, within the Qinglong County of the Vientiane Dynasty, a young man surnamed Yi rose to power. Cutting through thousands of miles of rivers and mountains, the sky is filled with stars shining brightly. The young man rose from the border with strong strength and once again entered the 9 heavenly gates. Our emperor has not died, this day should be broken. Keywords of the novel. Ru-mo-zwa-zwa whoop-pop-up. Download the complete TXT collection of Ru-mo-zwa-zwa, and read the latest chapters of Ru-mo-zwa-zwa. Chapter 1. Rebirth of the Demon Emperor. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The source has no content or has errors. Chapter 2. Guilt. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 2 Guilt. Go to the Drunken Fragrance Tower and listen to 2 songs. Yi Xiaoyu was stunned for a moment, then waved at Ji Bo with a wicked smile on his face. This is the usual action of Yi Xiaoyu, perhaps because he didn't want people to see his weakness, so he made every effort to create a charming and dandy image. It has to be said that Yi Xiaoyu was truly a spokesperson for grief. He was clearly someone who wanted to become stronger than anyone else, but in the end, he ended up committing suicide in despair. However, it's also true that this world never gives you a bad face because of how hard you work. An iron pestle can be ground into a needle, while a wooden stick is at best just a toothpick in its effort. The materials are incorrect, everything you say is in vain. After listening to Yi Xiaoyu's words, Ji Bo's face immediately turned bitter gourd-like. Young master, you don't have much money left for this month. Isn't there still you, Jibwa? Yi Xiaoyu waved his hand indifferently, then laughed heartily and went out. With a carefree demeanor, he portrayed a playful playboy to the extreme. Young master, you have already spent all my monthly money. Seeing Yi Xiaoyu's appearance, Ji Bo let out a sigh with his head down and feet paused. When he lifted his head again, Yi Xiaoyu's figure had already lost track of where the waves were going. Ji Bo had no choice but to look angry again and quickly followed behind Yi Xiaoyu, running out all the way. He, isn't this the 3rd young master? Why, are you going to listen to Miss Hongluo's music again today? The servants of Prince Yi's mansion saw Yi Xiaoyu walking out of the backyard and immediately sneered with a disdainful smile. Huh, that's for sure. The song by Miss Hongluo is indescribable. The number 1 of the Drunken Fragrance Tower, the music naturally sounds good, but I don't know, the young master's monthly income this month. The 2 servants showed a hint of ill-intentioned smile as they paused. Of course, the people of the prince's mansion of Chuani all know that due to his inability to cultivate, the 3rd young master's monthly salary has been deducted no different from those of his servants. Although the benefits of the Yuang mansion are generous, it is still somewhat wishful thinking to have the monthly salary to cover the top 10 days and a half months of the Drunken Fragrance Tower. The ridicule and satire inside and outside the words were naturally heard by Yi Xiaoyu, who has been a person of 2 generations, but he did not show much. In this world where martial arts are paramount, without strength, even a pile of dog poop on the ground is not as good. The more angry he behaves, the more endless these guys are. So Yi Xiaoyu simply laughed 3 times and looked up at the sky. Ha ha ha, money is nothing. If 1,000 coins are scattered, they will come back. I am the young master of the Yi Prince's mansion, the hereditary Yi Prince. After laughing, Yi Xiaoyu turned around and walked out without looking back, leaving behind a chorus of mockery and ridicule. The hereditary king of Yi, even a 3-year-old child in Fenglan City knows this thing, and it has nothing to do with his 3rd young master in the Yi family. Would Yi Xiaoyu not know it himself? The reason why he said this is that Yi Xiaoyu was just deliberately pretending to be foolish. On the contrary, in the eyes of these guys, he is already a useless person. So why didn't he just waste it completely and eliminate their gossip? Ah, young master. Ji Bo couldn't help but sigh again as he looked at the sound of rushing ahead. He watched as Yi Xiaoyu grew up. He knew how shrewd he was when he was young, and he thought that even in terms of cultivation, Xiaoyu would find it difficult to succeed. But in the future, in terms of scheming and calculation, he can still have a place in the Yi family, but now he is really no different from a useless person as a young master. Young master, you really can't leave the mansion casually these days. The master has stipulated that our Yi family should receive distinguished guests these 2 days, and no one from our clan can leave the mansion. In the drunken fragrance tower, Ji Bo kept chattering back and forth in Yi Xiaoyu's ear, preaching. Yi Xiaoyu's ears were almost calloused, so he impatiently dug out his ears. I said, Ji Bo, can I compare myself to those ordinary children in the clan? Who am I? I am the young master of the Yi family, the future king of Yi. Can those distinguished guests have my dignity? Really, please wait for me at the mansion, don't ruin my interest with Miss Honglu. Yi Xiaoyu casually grabbed a handful of melon seeds from the fruit tray on the table and slowly knocked them, while his eyes were fully focused on the woman in red clothes holding a pipa and gently flicking and playing slowly in the opposite elegant room. Red Willow, the flagship of Drunken Fragrance Tower, is one of the few geishas in the entire Fenglan city. Unlike women in ordinary flower and moon venues, Red Willow is the legendary type of performer who does not sell herself. Of course, in Yi Xiaoyu's eyes, it's just a bargain. If this so-called nobility alone can make the dark sky demon emperor look at him differently, then Yi Xiaoyu should really suspect that this rebirth not only ruined his cultivation, but also his vision. Just like his exaggerated performance in the Yi mansion, Xiaoyu's current so-called lecherous behavior can also be considered a form of disguise. Although Yi Xiaoyu is the third young master of the Yi family, due to his physical condition, he has never been able to break through the bone pattern realm. Over the years, Yi Xiaoyu has also withstood tremendous pressure. Looking at the inheritors of the 3 major wealthy families in Fenglan City, none of them are outstanding warriors. Only warriors can surpass the others and push a family to a higher level. In front of him, Yi Xiaoyu had to pretend to be a playboy, spending money like dirt and being obscene. Only in this way can we protect ourselves, and this is probably something that the other 2 major families and the elders in our own clan are very happy to see. Without the ability to protect oneself, one must make others feel that they are harmless to their people and animals. Although some of Yi Xiaoyu's actions seemed foolish to him, his thoughts in certain aspects were highly compatible with the renowned Dark Sky Demon Emperor, which is probably why he was reborn in Yi Xiaoyu. If you're injured, take a corner to lick your wound. When you're stronger, make a comeback and reclaim all the disposable items. Ji Bo glanced at Yi Xiaoyu and then at the red willows on the red platform. He let out a sigh as the iron was not strong enough, and then turned his head slowly and walked out. Wait. Seeing Ji Bo turn around to leave, Yi Xiaoyu suddenly spoke. Ji Bo quickly turned back, with a hint of light in his eyes, but then it faded away again. Ji Bo, do you still have money there? Give me some first, I don't have enough on my end. Upon hearing Yi Xiaoyu's unrestrained words, Ji Bo's once again faint hope grew. The expression on his face plummeted to the bottom, like an old man in his twilight years. However, his slightly trembling hands still reached into his pocket and took out a handful of broken silver, patting it on the table in front of Yi Xiaoyu. Then, hunching down, he slowly disappeared into the smoke and willows of the Drunken Fragrance building. Sorry, Jibwa. End of this chapter. Chapter 3. Vast Thunderstorm. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 3. Vast Thunderstorm. Watching Ji Bo's trembling figure, Xiaoyu's eyes flickered with a hint of struggle, but he quickly retreated and became calm, without letting the people around him notice any discomfort. It can be said that he has been reborn for such a long time, and this is the first time his mind has been affected. In 2 generations, although Yi Xiaoyu never considered himself a righteous person, he dared to say that he had never owed anyone a favor. Only this old man who was not close to him, Yi Xiaoyu, experienced this kind of struggle for the first time because he knew that he owed him and that he might not be able to repay it in his lifetime. Yi Xiaoyu gritted his teeth and took a sip of the wine in his glass. This old man who never dies is really unlucky. Hey, madam, what kind of wine are you? Bring me the most fragrant wine from your drunken fragrance tower, and can't Miss Honglu come to accompany me? I have plenty of money. Yi Xiaoyu turned a blind eye to the contemptuous gazes of the people around him and shouted at the madam on the second floor who was greeting guests in the elegant room. Here we go, third young master. Then a high-pitched scream was heard, followed by a middle-aged woman named Sun Yang who twisted her way down from above and walked towards Yi Xiaoyu. Accompanied by two turtle lords, dragging wine in two dishes. Due to Yi Xiaoyu being a frequent visitor here and his infatuation with the top red willow, the madam here is also very knowledgeable and has never brought any girls to Yi Xiaoyu. Of course, there is also an element of Yi Xiaoyu in it. Why does Yi Xiaoyu never go to other romantic places in Qinglong City? It's because only this drunken fragrance building has red willows. As for other restaurants, if you have money, not to mention being the number one, you can easily become a brothel, provided that you don't mind the taste. He filled himself with a pot of wine, and as usual, Yi Xiaoyu showed an infatuated expression towards the graceful person on stage. However, just as he took a sip of wine, his nose suddenly moved. How could there suddenly be such a strong killing aura? Yi Xiaoyu was puzzled. Although cultivation has become a big problem due to his own physique, as one of the former Nine Heavens Overlord, the Dark Sky Demon Emperor, Yi Xiaoyu is not completely useless now. At least as the sharp soul perception of the Dark Sky Demon Emperor, as well as the decisive vision of Yi Xiaoyu, he has not fallen behind at all. It's not a murderous aura, but a strong sense of rebellion with heavenly power. Angry Tianwei. Yi Xiaoyu suddenly became interested. Can it be said that there is something in this barren border country that can attract the attention of the heavens? In this world, it is impossible for cultivators to reach the level of rebellion, so there must be only one thing that can anger the heavenly power at this moment. Heavenly materials and earthly treasures. And definitely not ordinary. In such a country, he is nothing more than a master in the martial arts realm. He wouldn't believe that even killing Yi Xiaoyu would lead to the appearance of cultivators who cause thunder tribulations. So it can only be said that the birth of such legendary natural resources and treasures could cause such great turbulence. Yi Xiaoyu's eyes suddenly lit up with a different expression. He had just said that the Yuan mansion would be built within 3 months. Unexpectedly, in less than half a day, the heavens brought the opportunity to him. The luck after this rebirth is so good that it's like heaven. Yi Xiaoyu slammed the table and flew out of the drunken fragrance tower like a flying bird. No matter what it was, Yi Xiaoyu wanted to take a look, because it might be a shortcut for him to get rid of the title of useless firewood. After rushing out of the drunken fragrance building, Yi Xiaoyu quickly identified the direction. To the west. After confirming the direction, Yi Xiaoyu quickly snatched the horse from the horse pen in Wanxiang Tower and rushed towards the west gate like an arrow. The pedestrians along the way looked at Yi Xiaoyu, who was wearing a white horse and a green shirt, with a puzzled expression. That guy seems to be the third young master of the Yi family, right? It's not like that. It's strange. Can the Yi family's useless firewood also ride horses? The scoundrel is also a member of the Yi prince's mansion. Even if it's useless, it's not as bad as rumored. The chatter of passers-by around Yi Xiaoyu was too much for him to ask. At this moment, he was filled with only one thought, which was the Frost Forest. Frost Forest is a huge forest located to the west of Qinglong City. Its only characteristic is that no matter how the climate changes throughout the year, there is always only one temperature here, which is severe cold. In his mind, Yi Xiaoyu had already gone through all the spiritual medicines and treasures related to ice attributes. No matter what was produced here, Xiaoyu was confident. After all, the treasure that can trigger such celestial phenomena, no matter what it is. Through the means of the Dark Sky Demon Emperor, Yu has the confidence to transform himself from a useless piece of wood to the previous peerless arrogance, no more powerful than the original demon. Without even observing the surrounding conditions, Yu rushed straight into the forest. Just as he entered the frost forest, Yu saw a dark cloud all over his head, and the heavenly might was approaching, making him silent. At this moment, in the frost forest, let alone monsters, there is not even an ant to be found. The one that needs to return to the cave, the one that needs to sink. So even if Yu is just a battle scumbag now, he is still the only person standing and walking in this frost forest. Yu had never seen such a grand scene before, so even before entering the frost forest, he had already let go of the steed he had ridden. In front of the heavenly power thunder punishment, even the powerful monster dared not cause trouble, let alone this ordinary slow horse. Riding this thing, Yu estimated that he had no chance of entering the frost forest. Stepping onto the forest path of the frost forest, Yu could only feel an extremely cold and rapid spread throughout his body. If it were an ordinary cultivator in the Bone Ridge realm, it would be impossible for him to resist the cold here with his thin green shirt. But Yu is different. He is not an ordinary cultivator, and only he knows his body best. The reason why he suffered from the losses of the other divine kings in the 9 heavens was entirely because as the Dark Sky Demon Emperor, although he had practiced extremely domineering magic techniques, he lost to his lack of strong physical constitution. The sword-playing ancestor of Vientiane, with a body full of extreme swordsmanship and a heart spanning the 9 heavens, has traveled throughout the world of swordsmanship without encountering any enemy. There is also Emperor Hong from the heavenly realm, Yan Jidao from the Vientiane realm, and Jun Nanfeng from the Xiantian realm. These are not innate divine bodies, but various innate divine powers can be easily grasped. However, only Yu himself, despite being strong in his studies, has a talent that is inferior to several other divine-level characters in Vientiane. So this celestial body in the starry sky must be practiced. At this moment, Frost Forest is a great opportunity. End of this chapter. Chapter 4. Survival from a Catastrophe. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 4 Survival from a Catastrophe. No matter what kind of exotic treasure was born in the Frost Forest, Yu can use the terrifying spiritual energy contained in it to forcefully wash the marrow and bone, complete the foundation stage of the starry sky divine body, and open up the Yuan mansion. As soon as this celestial body in the starry sky broke through the realm of bone patterns, Yu completely flipped over, and his golden scales leaped and transformed into dragons. So Yu must seize this opportunity, even if it's a close call. Yu must take a chance. Stepping on the floating ice on the frosty forest ground, Yu rushed all the way towards the center of the thunder. At this moment, the thunder disaster had already arrived, and lightning bolts were wildly criticizing it. Yu squinted his eyes and looked at the sky. 49 Little Thunder Robbery. Fortunately, it's not the 9 heavenly might god thunder robbery. Yu breathed a sigh of relief. If the lightning disaster here was the 9-9 thunder disaster at the moment, Yu would not have moved forward with anything, he said. Gambling is not equivalent to death. If there were 10 deaths without life, Yu would not have been so foolish. After making up his mind, Yu quickly ran towards the direction emitting thunder calamity. When Yu ran to the center of the frost forest, he suddenly discovered unexpectedly that the forest here was still intact, without any signs of being affected by lightning. Can you say that we haven't arrived yet? Yu stopped in place and then shook his head. He could confirm that this was the heaviest place of Tianwei and the center of thunder robbery. But Yu suddenly lifted his head and said, "Can you say that someone has already been under this thunder calamity?" Yu squinted his eyes as he looked at the endless sky. At this moment, the thunder in the high sky was deafening, but it did seem as if there was an invisible force enveloping his head, blocking all the thunder and lightning from above the frost forest. "I'm not lucky, since I let others take the lead," Yu sighed helplessly. Just as he was about to turn around and leave, a powerful lightning bolt suddenly hit Yi Xiaoyu's feet. Yi Xiaoyu frowned and was about to flash when another lightning bolt exploded at his feet. My grass! Yi Xiaoyu let out a strange cry and quickly jumped aside. Can't you say that guy can't carry it anymore? Yi Xiaoyu smashed his mouth and immediately licked his lips with excitement. He felt like there was no way out when the mountains and rivers were exhausted, and the willows were hidden and the flowers were bright. Since the strong man above has a thin life and no blessings to absorb the exotic treasure that falls on this day, Xiaoyu is not polite. The darkness covers the sky. Yi Xiaoyu gritted his teeth and let out a loud cry. In an instant, a pitch-black mist suddenly spread up into the sky. Although Yi Xiaoyu was unable to break through the bone pattern realm due to his physical condition, the martial arts' mysterious energy accumulated in his body was very majestic. Yi Xiaoyu, this is a gamble on his life, and he is also using up all his savings in the first half of his life. After consuming all the martial arts and mystical energy accumulated in his body for so many years, Yi Xiaoyu finally used the famous skill of the Dark Sky Demon Emperor back then. Although it is a severely shrunken simplified version of the Great Dark Sky, it should still be able to compete with this thunderbolt with only a few remaining remnants. I hope there are not many remaining thunder tribulations, Xiaoyu sighed, then waved his hand and a huge black curtain rushed straight into the sky, colliding with the dazzling thunder in the sky. With a click, I saw that the Great Dark Sky, which had just received 2 lightning strikes, had already been cracked. Damn it, I underestimated the power of the thunder in this sky. Yi Xiaoyu gritted his teeth secretly, and the next second, the barrier that covered the sky was shattered like thunder. In an instant, a thunderbolt struck Yi Xiaoyu. It wasn't that Yi Xiaoyu didn't want to escape. Since Yi Xiaoyu used the Great Dark to cover the sky to pick up the thunder robbery, he had no way out. Because this is not a divine soul of the Dark Heavenly Demon Emperor, but a separated divine idea of the Dark Heavenly Demon Emperor. In terms of soul strength alone, it is slightly stronger than ordinary martial arts cultivation, but it is impossible to resist the invasion of this divine power and thunder. After the last thunder fell, only a piece of scorched earth remained in the entire frost forest, while Yi Xiaoyu collapsed on the ground, unaware of his life or death. 3 days later, deep in the frost forest, a huge humanoid coke slowly sat up from the pit. So, did my emperor not die? This coke is none other than Yi Xiaoyu, who was struck by the heavenly calamity. After getting up from the ground, Yi Xiaoyu looked at his body and didn't seem to be injured. He jumped in place and felt that his internal strength had broken through. Wen Gu Jing. No, this is Yuan Fu Jing. Yi Xiaoyu suddenly opened his eyes, and only then did he realize that there was a small cauldron floating quietly in his elixir field, and he had actually condensed out of the Yuan mansion. Yi Xiaoyu looked at the cauldron located in the Dantian in surprise and couldn't help but be very surprised. Humph, little one, it's better for you to take up your stool. Just as Yi Xiaoyu was about to burst out laughing 3 times, a clear female voice suddenly plunged his mood into the abyss. Who? Yi Xiaoyu suddenly turned back, but seeing that there was no one behind him, he turned his head and looked elsewhere, still without a ghost. Yi Xiaoyu suddenly had a bad idea. The next second, this idea was confirmed, and a woman slowly drifted out of her Yuan mansion. It has been proven that there are no shortcuts in this world. Along with the heavenly and earthly treasures that were inherited from him, there was actually the unjust master who had previously failed to resist the lightning disaster. Yi Xiaoyu suddenly had a very painful feeling. He didn't expect that his demon god would also have a day that people would give up. If these words were spoken, they would probably make those old immortals in Vientiane laugh their teeth out. That little one. No, your majesty the queen. Don't give up the little one. The little one has an 80-year-old mother on top, and a group of wives and concubines on the bottom. Don't ask why the demon emperor is so ungrateful. When it comes to life and death, who cares what integrity is? Besides, integrity is exclusive to righteous people, okay? Don't even look at who I am, the leader of the demon world. How can I have the integrity to eat and drink things that are inappropriate? Ah, the thousand-striped body is indeed rare in terms of talent. The woman let out a cold snort from a condescending position, which was clearly evident from her tone, indicating that she was commenting on Yi Xiaoyu's qualifications. The thousand-pattern body. What thing? Yi Xiaoyu hesitated and looked up, suddenly startled by the woman in front of him. The temperament of this woman can only be described as rare by Yi Xiaoyu. The blue soul body, it seems, should be the martial arts mystical energy that cultivates water or ice attributes. Although the woman had covered up her soul and physical appearance, she had no choice but to face the dark sky demon emperor. Even if it was just a remnant of the original god, it was still a god-level soul. How could this low-level disguise deceive his divine consciousness? End of this chapter. Chapter 5. There will be after disaster. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 5. There will be after disaster. With just one glance, Yi Xiaoyu saw through the misty disguise she had imposed on her soul. Yi Xiaoyu swallowed his saliva, not because of the beauty of the woman in front of him, but of course, this was also one of the reasons. Although she is beautiful, the woman in front of her gives Yi Xiaoyu a very dangerous feeling. You should know that even if someone who has reached the extreme stands in front of him, he will not feel this way. It is very likely that this woman's cultivation before her death has crossed the barrier of the extreme realm and reached a higher level. In this small Fenglan city, such a strong person unexpectedly appeared, and Yi Xiaoyu couldn't help but swallow his saliva. Hey kid, what are you looking at? Qin Qingling's face turned cold. Did this kid see something? At this moment, Yi Xiaoyu quickly swallowed his saliva. He dared not show any signs of deceit at this moment. You should know that a phoenix with fallen feathers is not as good as a chicken. Even if his dark heaven demon emperor was once an anti-heavenly existence, now this woman can still reach out her finger and crush her own master. Yi Xiaoyu swallowed his saliva and said, "So. Great Immortal, what is the thousand-pattern body you just mentioned?" "Don't call me, Great Immortal, just call me, Qin Qingling." After hearing Yi Xiaoyu's words, Qin Qingling breathed a sigh of relief. She was also worried about how anyone could see through her disguise at a glance in this place where no one could even break through the extreme wall of martial arts. "Oh, good Immortal." Yi Xiaoyu nodded solemnly, willing to show his face and dare to pull the emperor off his horse. Yi Xiaoyu almost openly asked Qin Qingling if the immortal needed thigh pendants, the kind who could eat. However, asking such a question is probably of no use, as it is very likely to be slapped to death by Qin Qingling. You must be puzzled why no matter how you cultivate, you cannot break through the bone pattern realm. That's because the thousand-pattern body is your constitution. As we all know, the bone pattern realm is the foundation of martial arts cultivation. During the bone pattern realm period, martial arts cultivation needs to condense a total of 90.9 and 80.1 innate divine patterns in order to step into the Yuan Mansion realm. As the name suggests, the characteristic of the thousand-pattern body is that during the bone pattern realm period, cultivators with this constitution need to condense at least 1,000 innate divine patterns in order to break through to the Yuan Mansion realm. Originally, the celestial body in the starry sky is called the thousand-pattern body. Here, Xiaoyu frowned and said inwardly. Most constitutions in the world come from different paths, but in different places, these constitutions may be given different names. According to Qin Qingling's description, Yi Xiaoyu estimated that the so-called thousand-pattern body should be the starry sky god body, or a low-end version of the starry sky god body. The starry sky god experiences the condensation of the starry river Yuan Mansion in the Yuan Mansion realm. This Yuan Mansion is completely different from the ordinary martial arts cultivation Yuan Mansion. As is well known, Yuan Mansion is the place where every warrior collects the mysterious energy of martial arts. The larger the capacity of the Yuan Mansion, the more martial arts mystical energy that warriors can absorb. The capacity of the Starry Sky Yuan Mansion is almost endless like that of the Star River universe, which means that martial arts cultivators with this type of Yuan Mansion will never experience a time when their energy is depleted. It can be said that the Starry Sky Divine Body is the most domineering cultivation constitution before and after. Although it does not have any special privileges in cultivation talents like other constitutions, only the endless martial arts mystical energy is enough to devour the sky in one move. However, compared to your 1,000-patterned body, the 4-sided small cauldron floating in your Yuan Mansion is the true treasure now. Seeing Yi Xiaoyou's thoughtful expression, Sun Qingling sighed again and said in a tone that was all melancholic. Baby. Yi Xiaoyu showed a strange expression, but it was just a heavenly treasure-level medicine cauldron. Can this kind of thing be considered a treasure? Yi Xiaoyu smashed his mouth with a disdainful expression on his face. If Sun Qingling knew what this guy was thinking at the moment, he probably wished he could crush him. You should know that weapons and elixirs in this world are divided into 5 levels. Mortal, mystical, spiritual, earthly, and heavenly. And this Tianbao level tripod is already the most advanced, and Yi Xiaoyu still has this indifferent expression, which is really a bit shameless. Hey kid, do you know that this extremely immortal medicine king cauldron is a legendary heavenly treasure? It's impossible for an ordinary person to see it in their lifetime. But your kid picked up a big bargain and unexpectedly accepted it by chance. Oh, you really mean to plant flowers and not plant them, without the intention of planting willows and willows to create shade? What kind of medicine king ding do you want, immortal? Just take it, but don't give up the small one, the small one. I know that there are 80 elderly mothers above and a group of wives and concubines below. Let me put it another way, whether you're interested or not. Sun Qingling rolled her eyes and said, don't worry, I don't even bother doing things that only demonic cultivators do. It's just that you won't do the dirty and vulgar activities of those local chickens, tiles, and dogs in the demonic realm. It's only with the heart of a petty person that you can satisfy a gentleman's stomach. Yi Xiaoyu nodded repeatedly, and his dog-like appearance immediately made Sun Qingling roll his eyes. How could there be such a shameless person in the world? Little did they know that Yi Xiaoyu's heart was also bleeding. In order to temporarily compromise, he became the spokesperson for the entire country after receiving the exact news from Sun Qingling that she would not give up on him. Yi Xiaoyu breathed a sigh of relief. However, it seems impossible to get rid of this woman for the time being. Yi Xiaoyu can see that this woman's physical body is likely to be destroyed due to the thunder calamity. Now, she is just a divine soul residing in the extreme immortal medicine King Ding, probably similar to the artifact spirit of the extreme immortal medicine King Ding. Perhaps even the spirit of the artifact is not as good, because the heavenly treasure level spiritual artifact itself has already opened its spiritual orifice, so the current Sun Qingling should be just a tenant of the extreme immortal medicine King Ding. Hey, you're not just planning to stay with me like this, are you? Walking on the main road of the frost forest, Yi Xiaoyu let out a cold snort in frustration, saying that the place where he was lying was not suitable for others to sleep soundly, let alone that it was still my icy and pure body. There is such a little fairy living in my own Yuan mansion, so I won't have to go through it again in the future. What are you saying? Sun Qingling's tone became cold when he heard Yi Xiaoyu's words. Yi Xiaoyu swallowed his saliva and said, Immortal, how long do you plan to stay here with me? Stay as long as you want. Stay as you please, don't be polite to me. Sun Qingling snorted coldly, I won't stay with you until I find a way to repair my body in the future, but before that. Understood, understood. Yi Xiaoyu nodded repeatedly, which was also an impossible task. As for the way to repair his physical body, Xiaoyu had more options, but his current cultivation level was not enough. What physical body will be repaired after breaking through the heavenly realm and achieving cultivation in the heavenly realm? I want to personally kill this lonely soul and wild ghost, and even make him go crazy. Talking to me like this, even that cheap old man from Fenglan City has never happened. End of this chapter. Chapter 6. Return to Yifu. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 6. Return to Yifu. Speaking of Prince Yi's mansion, Yi Xiaoyu suddenly realized that he had not returned for a while. By the way, how many days have I been unconscious? It looks like 3 to 5 days. 3 or 5 days. Yi Xiaoyu suddenly showed an expression that was even uglier than crying. At first, due to the thunder disaster, all the monsters in the frost forest hid, but now it's different. Not all of these monsters have rushed out like crazy. This is the central area of the frost forest, and now a monster can easily emerge, which is not something that weak players at the level of Yi Xiaoyu can deal with. Hello Immortal, this is the end of the matter. Do you still have any trump cards? You can also get a 10,000-li divine charm or something. Wanli Xinxing, you're a ghost. Sun Qingling spat at Yi Xiaoyu in anger. However, on the other hand, how could this little miscellaneous fish come here? In theory, this frost forest is a forbidden area for cultivators in the bone realm. Does this guy already know that there is thunder calamity here? Sun Qingling squinted his eyes and looked thoughtfully at Yi Xiaoyu walking on the forest path now. Originally, she did have some tricks, but now Sun Qingling doesn't plan to take them out. She wants to see what secrets this little guy still has. Yi Xiaoyu naturally sensed Sun Qingling's intention and cursed in pain, then had to continue walking forward with a mournful face. Seeing Yi Xiaoyu's appearance, Sun Qingling also showed a strange expression. Does he really have a trump card? Of course, how could Yi Xiaoyu not have any trumps? He does have some small tricks that he couldn't use in the bone pattern realm before, but it's different when he reaches the Yuan Mansion realm. However, Yi Xiaoyu dare not casually display it here. He doesn't want to be targeted by the guy inside him because he has revealed too many bizarre things. The two guys continued to move forward with their own ulterior motives, and suddenly became much quieter. Although she had an unknown woman on her body, due to the existence of the extremely immortal medicine Wang Ding, Yi Xiaoyu finally broke through the bone-patterned realm and cultivated the Yuan Mansion. Therefore, Yi Xiaoyu's mood at this moment can definitely be described as joyful. However, pleasure returns to pleasure. As a rookie who has just broken through the Yuan Dynasty, he has not lost any of the vigilance and calmness he should have. While walking on the path in the forest, Yi Xiaoyu even observed the surrounding patterns and the arrangement of flora and fauna, all of which were recorded in his mind. Don't underestimate the seemingly useless details. Based on the arrangement of surrounding plants, Yi Xiaoyu can at least roughly infer the distribution of monsters in this area, as well as the approximate level and strength of these monsters. At least Yi Xiaoyu can roughly infer that if he unfortunately encounters two monsters, he should symbolically run away or simply wait in place to die. Tall coniferous trees around block the sky and the sun, and even the slightest wind or grass movement is noticed in Yi Xiaoyu's eyes. Kid, go left quickly, there's a good east there. Going left. As he was walking, suddenly the voice of Sun Qingling came from his ear. Yi Xiaoyu frowned. He had intended to inquire a little, but upon closer reflection, he realized that if Sun Qingling were to notice something, he would not have to pay for it. No matter what kind of ghosts and snakes he was, Yi Xiaoyu walked over directly. A wriggling snowball. Yi Xiaoyu raised his eyebrows and looked at the moving thing under the big tree in the distance. Before Yi Xiaoyu could approach, the previously wriggling fur ball suddenly stiffened, and then a ferocious monster slowly turned its head. I'll go to your sister's place. When Yi Xiaoyu saw the fangs at the corner of the giant beast's mouth still dripping with blood, his heart was filled with cursing. He doesn't think this thing is the kind and amiable thing that Husky looks like, and the fangs that are still steaming hot can already explain everything. I saw the big guy who looked like the enlarged version of Sammy, and at the moment he saw Yi Xiaoyu, his eyes were full of value. Yi Xiaoyu doesn't believe that there is such a thing as love at first sight in this world. Even if there is, Xiaoyu doesn't think that his personality charm has become so strong that he can't distinguish between humans and animals without time to say hello. Xiaoyu turned his head and ran away. Immediately afterwards, a thunderous roar came from behind, causing the ice crystals on the surrounding tree tops to brush down and fall to the ground. Second-order peak monster, Frost Bear. The second-level demon beast is roughly equivalent to a cultivator in the human Yuan Mansion realm. Looking at the monster grinning at him in front of him, Xiaoyu couldn't lift a trace of his good mood. Hey immortal, if you have any means, just use them. Otherwise, both of us will have to leave here. It's okay if the little one dies. Immortal, you managed to survive. It's not appropriate to leave us here and say anything. Xiaoyu's face suddenly turned sad. He was running, and indeed he was. But how could a two-legged person possibly run better than a four-legged one? Unfortunately, Xiaoyu waited for a long time and did not receive a response from Qinglong. I'm a great immortal, you should act quickly. If this continues, we really have to hang up. I can't take action. After a while, Xiaoyu finally heard Qinglong's somewhat shy voice. I'll go, what a shy ghost are you? Xiaoyu rolls his eyes. He is really powerless to complain about Qinglong. Hey immortal, what does it mean that you can't take action? You can't take action and bring me over. What's going on? I thought you could handle it yourself. Are you teasing me? Xiaoyu suddenly stopped in place, forgetting to even run away for a moment. Why did he run away like a ghost? His opponent is the frost giant bear. Can he still run up to the sky while running? Xiaoyu suddenly turned his head, and a cloud of martial arts mystical energy condensed in his hand. However, the next moment, with a thud, that cloud of martial arts mystical energy directly turned into nothingness. Hey, I forgot that I had already exhausted all the mysterious energy in my body when I used big darkness to cover the sky before grass. Think of me as the demon emperor of the first generation, who is now being tricked and killed here by this guy. Finally, when it was time to open up the Yuan Mansion, the cultivation journey should have been soaring, but ended up dying at the hands of a second-order demon beast. It's funny to think about Xiaoyu, but he really can't laugh now. Whoever made fate play such a big joke, I probably can't even laugh. You really can't do anything about it. Xiaoyu hears Qinglong's eager and slightly shy voice again, but he is too lazy to complain about anything at the moment. Nonsense, then wait for you to die. Xiaoyu pouted in anger and then sat down on the ground. Lying there with big characters, living off the meat on a chopping board. Just as Qinglong was about to take action, a narrow sword energy wave suddenly flashed across the sky, crashing straight into the head of the frost giant bear. I only heard the frost bear let out a painful cry, then turned around and disappeared into a forest of frost. Are you okay, little brother? End of this chapter. Chapter 7. VIP Visits. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 7 VIP Visits. Lying on the ground, Xiaoyu opened his eyes slightly and saw a young girl wearing a blue and white dress smiling at him. Judging from his age, he should be slightly younger than himself, but his realm is actually the 8 realms of Yuan Mansion, which makes Xiaoyu feel a bit ashamed. This kind of girl should be considered a proud figure in the small Yunlan city. Upon realizing that she finally had it, Xiaoyu grinned happily. The big white teeth paired with his blackened face, which had been struck by lightning, immediately amused the young girl. Why did you come out of the mud pit like this? As long as you're happy. Xiaoyu shrugged nonchalantly. There was no mirror now, otherwise he would have noticed how comical his demeanor was now. I plan to go to nearby Yunlan city, is it the same way? The girl laughed for a while, then put away the smile on her face and asked Xiaoyu with a tone of inquiry. I'll go the same way wherever the female hero goes, really. Xiaoyu's eyes suddenly lit up. Fenglan City was the largest city near the Frost Forest, and the young girl in front of him was dressed and spoke in a decent tone. These people were either descendants of a wealthy family or disciples who had come from a sect to experience. However, most of the children of those aristocratic families are exaggerated, so Yi Xiaoyu believes that the girl in front of him is probably a disciple of that sect's royal family. Why not pick up a thug for nothing, and he's also a thug from the 8 realms of Yuan Mansion. So Yi Xiaoyu calmly followed her out of the frost forest. There were no more thrilling events on the road afterwards. Even if we occasionally encountered 1 or 2 monster beasts, they were not a match for the female hero at all, and it was not Yi Xiaoyu's turn to be thrilling. The Qinglong city is ahead. Let's bid farewell to you, Vexia. If it's fate, goodbye in the martial arts world. After speaking, Yi Xiaoyu ignored Lu Yunxin's surprised expression and ran straight into Qinglong city, quickly disappearing into Lu Yunxin's gaze. This little guy is quite interesting. Watching Yi Xiaoyu's disappearing figure, Lu Yunxin covered her mouth and chuckled lightly before entering Qinglong city. Oh my, I just forgot how to get to the little Prince Yi's mansion. After entering Qinglong city, Lu Yunxin reluctantly patted her pure white forehead and stuck out her tongue to grab a passerby. At this moment, at the entrance of the Yi Prince's mansion, there was a bustling crowd. Yi Xiaoyu dared to say that he had lived in this Yi Prince's mansion for 16 years and had never seen it so lively before. Previously, Ji Bo seemed to have mentioned that there might be some distinguished guests visiting the Yi Prince's mansion recently, but now it seems that they have arrived. Yi Xiaoyu smiled and shook his head, then lifted his leg to enter the gate of the Yi mansion. However, suddenly, 2 guards stopped Yi Xiaoyu. Where did you come from, little beggar? Hurry up, this is not the place where you ask for food. It is a key area of the royal mansion, and idle people are not allowed to approach it casually. The person who raised his hand and stopped Yi Xiaoyu outside was not someone else, but a servant of his Yi family. I wipe out these 2 rogues. I really don't know about them. I don't even know their young master. Hey, I'll go and open your dog's eyes. Hey young master, you've come back. Hurry up, hurry up, hurry up. Before Yi Xiaoyu could speak, he quickly walked out of the mansion and was supported by an old man. Of course, the old man was none other than Ji Bo, who inexplicably held him up. Yi Xiaoyu was stunned for a moment, and then forgot to scold the 2 inconspicuous guards, so he was pulled in half by half. What's going on, Jibwa? After being pulled closer to his own courtyard, Yi Xiaoyu suddenly released Ji Bo and asked with some confusion. Ah, this matter is a long story. Young master, please go change your clothes first, and then go directly to the conference hall to find the master. Ji Bo then pushed Yi Xiaoyu into the room. So formal. Yi Xiaoyu chuckled and turned his head to look at the bronze mirror standing in the room, saying, Someone, bring me a basin of hot water. I need to take a shower and change clothes. After washing up, Yi Xiaoyu looked at himself in the bronze mirror with satisfaction, even though he had been seen by outsiders as a greasy dandy for so many years. But Yi Xiaoyu, who has never relaxed his cultivation, is not as strong on the outside as he appears on the surface. Although his tight and muscular body may not look as flamboyant as those bodybuilders, these sharp muscle blocks are equally explosive. Looking at the mirror without clothes in broad daylight and giggling foolishly, I never expected you to be so perverted. Just as Yi Xiaoyu was about to go get dressed, suddenly a cool and alluring blue woman floated out from behind. Damn it, she forgot that this guy was still in her Yuan mansion. Sleeping trough, hurry up and get back to that medicine king's cauldron. Your sister, you're such a blatant peeping fruit man. You're still not human. After blurting it out, Yi Xiaoyu suddenly realized that this guy is not a human, just a soul. No one can say that. Yi Xiaoyu suddenly slapped his forehead. It seemed that this was not the key point. Yi Xiaoyu quickly covered the important parts and said, Get out of here, quickly roll into the medicine king cauldron. How can I talk to this girl? Qingling's tone suddenly became cold, and Yi Xiaoyu frowned with a headache. Is this little sister law really crazy or has some indescribable special hobby? De Xian, you actually said that. Alright, just look at it whatever you like. Yi Xiaoyu decided not to be shy anymore, lying on the big bed with a white stripe, looking like a lamb waiting to be slaughtered. Suddenly, Qin Qingling's face turned red. You're crazy, Qin Qingling shouted, and then quickly slipped into the extremely immortal medicine Wang Ding. Who's so perverted? Yi Xiaoyu looked at a wisp of residual soul that had disappeared into the air, pursed his lips in frustration, and then slowly sat up from the bed. Turning his head, Yi Xiaoyu saw the copper tray placed by Ji Bo on the bedside table. Inside the tray, there was a neatly stacked golden robe embroidered with python cloud patterns, a hair crown, a jade belt, and golden boots. In the entire Qinglong County, only royal relatives and relatives can wear this yellow python robe. Even if other ordinary families wear this clothing, they will be beheaded no matter how powerful they are. Don't underestimate such a piece of clothing. It's not just a piece of clothing, it's a symbol of power and status. What kind of grand occasion is this? It's so unbelievable that the unreliable old man took out the yellow python robe from the bottom of the box. Wearing an imperial python robe and a hair crown, Xiaoyu's overall demeanor changed once again, like a carp leaping over the dragon gate and wrinkling an eagle into a kunpeng, giving people an indescribable feeling of luxury. End of this chapter. Chapter 8. Lu Family Masters. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 8 Lu Family Masters. After changing clothes, Yi Xiaoyu opened the door and calmly walked out of the room. Let's go, Jibwa. Outside the door, Ji Bo looked at Yi Xiaoyu, who had changed into a yellow python robe, and was suddenly surprised as he stood in the same place, unable to regain his senses for a long time. It wasn't until Yi Xiaoyu left the other courtyard that Ji Bo regained his senses and quickly followed him. Young master, he is so brave. Ji Bo couldn't help but sigh as he looked at the young man's resolute back. But in the moment of turning around, the murky old eyes flashed a hint of imperceptible regret. Alas, if third young master had some talent in cultivation, he wouldn't have this. Is this third young master? Along the way, all the servants who saw Yi Xiaoyu showed surprised expressions. It must be said that the shock that Yi Xiaoyu brought to them today was absolutely unparalleled. Not only in his python robe, but more importantly, on Yi Xiaoyu's face, they saw a faint smile, a confident and spirited expression that they had never seen on this useless young master's face. Follow Ji Bo through the backyard and finally stop outside the solemn welcome hall. Respectfully knocking on the door, Yi Xiaoyu gently pushed the door in. The hall is very spacious, and there are also many people in it. The top few sitting are Yi Xiaoyu's father, Yi Jianfeng, and 3 elderly people with indifferent faces. They are the elders of the clan and have no less power than the clan leader. Under the left hand of the 4, sat some influential and powerful elders in the family, and beside them were also some young generations who had performed outstandingly in the family. On the other side, there were 3 strangers sitting, probably the distinguished guests mentioned by Ji Bo a few days ago. Finally here we are. Seeing Yi Xiaoyu pushing the door and entering, he immediately showed a sense of relief. Seeing his father's expression, Xiaoyu suddenly couldn't calm down. He felt relieved, but why did Yi Xiaoyu have the illusion of a heavy shoulder? This is dog little tour. This is. Oh, I really want to say I'm not. Yi Xiaoyu suddenly showed a helpless smile. Although he hasn't figured out what the situation is now, Xiaoyu can probably guess. Calling oneself over in such a large formation, what good thing can there be? I haven't come over yet to pay my respects to the senior members of the Lu family in Beijing. I've met Uncle Lu. Yi Xiaoyu bowed respectfully to the 3 people sitting over there. The middle-aged man sitting in the center nodded slightly, which could be considered as a response to Yi Xiaoyu. And the 2 young people next to him didn't have such a good temper. When they saw Yi Xiaoyu, they immediately snorted, the kind of contemptuous voice that came from their nostrils. The Yuan dynasty's territory is heavy. It seems that the Yi prince's mansion has indeed fallen. One of the young men snorted coldly and disdainfully revealed Yi Xiaoyu's strength. But the senior of the Lu family showed no intention of stopping him, even with a hint of disdain in his eyes and eyebrows. This world is like this, without strength, you are not even a waste. Yuan Fu Jing Yi Chong. The hall was surprisingly quiet, with only the sound of swallowing saliva one after another. However, Lu Wuchen frowned at the banquet. What's going on? Isn't it just one Yuan mansion realm? Why do these people seem to have seen the martial arts mythology of the extreme realm? Lu Wuchen and his companions may not know, but in the entire Yi Wang mansion, who knows that since Yi Xiaoyu started practicing at the age of 6, his realm has never surpassed the bone pattern realm. However, after missing for a few days, Xiaoyu, who returned again, unexpectedly broke through to the Yuan mansion realm, which was extremely explosive news for everyone in the Yi family. Xiaoyu, did you break through? Yi Jianfeng's voice was trembling and trembling. Yi Xiaoyu knew that the news of his breakthrough had brought too much excitement to his somewhat elderly father. Over the years, although Yi Xiaoyu was a useless person, his father had never felt a trace of despair towards him. Although he has shown some disrespect in many aspects of his words and actions, as a father, Xiaoyu has given him far more tolerance than his two brothers. Yi Xiaoyu nodded calmly. Okay. Just break through. Yi Jianfeng said 2 good words in a row, and it was not difficult to see the excitement of the old father. After finishing his words, Yi Jianfeng quickly clapped his hands and said, "Butler, hold a grand banquet. Tonight, we are going to entertain the distinguished guests from the imperial city." On the side seat, Lu Wuchen frowned and cast a displeased gaze on Yi Jianfeng. The members of the Lu family had already arrived at the conference hall, and Yi Jianfeng had been dragging around until now, saying that he would hold a grand banquet. Why bother to receive him? This is clearly a celebration for the useless young master who has just broken through the Yuan mansion. At least they are also members of the Lu family in the imperial city. It is impossible for King Yi to consider him as the once dominant ancestor of the Yi family. On the main seat, Yi Jianfeng seemed to have not seen Lu Wutra's dissatisfaction at all, just gently blowing the floating leaves on the teacup. And Yi Xiaoyu slowly sat down on a side seat in a corner on the other side, because Yi Xiaoyu was already a member of the younger generation of the Yi family, and at this moment, all the people sitting in the council hall were senior members of the Yi family. Therefore, sitting in this corner, Yi Xiaoyu actually followed the etiquette system. After taking his seat, Yi Xiaoyu's gaze swept back and forth in the entire hall without any trace, but several times it landed on the 3 people across from him. The divine soul realm is just triple, you don't need to observe so subtly, he can't even notice your gaze. Just as Yi Xiaoyu was looking at the 3 people across from him, Qinglong from the Yuan mansion suddenly transmitted a message to him. Yi Xiaoyu hesitated for a moment, then nodded, feeling that he was too cautious. Indeed, but those 2 Yuan mansions with 9 levels of territory should be the elite children of the Lu family, right? Upon hearing Yi Xiaoyu's voice, Qinglong was momentarily stunned before realizing that it was Yi Xiaoyu's transmission. Your soul strength is not weak, yes, in your small place, a person of this age in the Yuan mansion realm of Zhuchong can indeed be considered a genius. Yi Xiaoyu opened his mouth in surprise and cursed inwardly for not being careful, as he had not even done such details well. However, in this regard, Yi Xiaoyu has long thought of excuses. If you have been practicing day by day for 10 years and haven't made any progress, your soul strength is probably not weak either. This time, Qinglong did not speak up to explore again, because Yi Xiao's persuasion was good. Martial arts emphasizes perseverance, the ability to reach the extreme, and even break down barriers to become a misleading myth. People are often not so called geniuses, but those who are persevering and hardworking mediocre. End of this chapter. Chapter 9. Wanxiang Academy. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 9 Wanxiang Academy. How are the two of them? Yi Xiaoyu became smarter this time and didn't go directly to see the cultivation qualities of the two people across from him. Instead, he asked Sun Qingling. A 4th grade root bone and a 3rd grade root bone are relatively talented, but what does it have to do with you? You have 1,000 stripes physique, and when it comes to talent, your physique is bullying compared to any other root bone. Is it a 3rd grade bone? Yi Xiaoyu nodded. As we all know, along the way of martial arts, there have been various talented warriors with special constitutions, but more of them are ordinary warriors. Ordinary warriors, on the other hand, need to determine a warrior's talent through their root bones. The root bones are divided into grades 1 to 9, with the 1st grade having the best root bone talent and the 9th grade being the lowest. And the two young people sitting opposite each other, one of 3rd grade and the other of 4th grade, are already quite capable in terms of their qualifications. If this is the elite disciple of the Lu family in the imperial city, then Yi Xiaoyu can roughly estimate the peak strength of this Dongyun County. Do you know what they came here for? Yi Xiaoyu shrugged helplessly. He really didn't know about it, but he could probably guess that this should be a matter of the previous generation, and it shouldn't involve them, the younger generation. At this moment, in the center of the hall, Yi Jianfeng and the senior member of the Lu family are talking about each other, and Yi Xiaoyu is not interested at all. What he is very concerned about now is whether his Xinghe Yuan mansion has been successfully condensed. After taking a glance around, he realized that there were not many people paying attention to him. Yi Xiaoyu immediately entered the cultivation process like an old monk. The first thing Yi Xiaoyu, who was practicing with his eyes closed, did was to look inside the Yuan mansion. As he had anticipated, the colorful infinite Yuan mansion in the Star River did not appear, but was replaced by a green cauldron. My day, what kind of ghost is this? Yi Xiaoyu suddenly became furious and opened his eyes. This shout startled the group discussing Yi Jianfeng in the Parliament Hall. Yi Xiaoyu just realized that his reaction seemed a bit out of sync. He quickly waved his hand and said, "Out of sync, out of sync." Lu Wuchen turned around and glanced inexplicably at Yi Jianfeng on the main seat, while Yi Jianfeng squinted his eyes and apologetically signaled to continue their conversation. When the wind had passed, Yi Xiaoyu finally breathed a sigh of relief. His cultivation of joy and anger, which was not reflected in his appearance, had been breaking through in recent days. He shook his head and decided to continue meditating. Hey, immortal, what's going on in my Yuan mansion? Yi Xiaoyu almost gritted his teeth and tried to make his emotions sound less volatile. This is the legendary immortal extreme Yuan mansion, where the extreme immortal medicine King Ding has replaced your previous constitution, directly helping you transition to the Yuan mansion realm and opening the immortal extreme Yuan mansion for you. This is the Yuan mansion that millions of martial cultivators cannot hope for, so you can enjoy it secretly. I thank you. Yi Xiaoyu gritted his teeth fiercely. The extreme immortal medicine king cauldron, which is nothing but a heavenly treasure-level cauldron, has replaced the perfect foundation that even the gods are moved by. The appearance of Xianji Yuan mansion instantly disrupted Yi Xiaoyu's plans for the future. The heavenly treasure-level spiritual artifact is only worth a few coins. You should know that the infinite Yuan mansion is the first step of the starry sky divine body. For a warrior, opening up the infinite Yuan mansion will lead to a smooth road and provide great assistance. And a warrior naturally cannot open up 2 Yuan mansions within his body, so the existence of the Xianji Yuan mansion basically makes it difficult for Yi Xiaoyu's starry sky divine body to go further. If there are only thousands of innate divine patterns, then Yi Xiaoyu, this celestial body in the starry sky, is not worth much. It is basically equivalent to the 1,000-pattern constitution in Sun Qingling's mouth. With such a great talent, it can be considered completely blind. It's useless to say so much after calculating things, and the path of cultivation is not just about talent. Back then, my emperor did not reach the divine realm with the most mediocre talent. Talent only determines the time it takes to reach the divine realm. And my emperor's experience of reaching the divine realm is the most important thing. Yi Xiaoyu sighed and then put aside his thoughts of regret. It was clearly impossible to continue practicing here. Yi Xiaoyu simply turned his gaze to the few people being discussed in the hall. I suddenly realized that during my meditation period, there were several more people in the hall, including 3 men, 2 women, and 5 others, all wearing the same uniforms. It seems that they should have learned from their peers. Who are those guys? Wanxiang Academy. Just as Yi Xiaoyu was puzzled, Qinglong's voice rang out perfectly here. In your Wanxiang Dynasty, there are a total of 4 unshakable giants. Daoshi Academy, Shifang Jianshan, Haohan Sect, and Wanxiang Academy. The fist badge on these 5 people's chests is the symbol of Wanxiang Academy. The Wanxiang Dynasty refers to the place where Yi Xiaoyu lives now. That's right, Qinglong County is just a small country in the Wanxiang Dynasty, and there are at least hundreds of small countries like Qinglong County in the Wanxiang Dynasty. So no wonder the young people in the center of the hall would stand there like stars and moons, the students of the Wanxiang Academy, which is definitely a guest-level presence in any family in the entire Qinglong County. However, what Yi Xiaoyu didn't understand was that everyone knew that the 3 major forces of the Wanxiang Dynasty were Daoshi Academy, Shifang Jianshan, and Wanxiang Academy. So what happened to the sudden emergence of the Haohan Sect? Although the development of the Haohan Sect in the Wanxiang Dynasty was also good, compared to the other 3 forces, it was just a second-tier sect, and among many second-tier sects, it may not necessarily rank in the top 3. As if sensing Yi Xiaoyu's confusion, Qinglong explained, unlike the other 3 forces, although the Haohan sect is not strong, there is a Qinglong Haocheng behind him. This Qinglong Haocheng is a transcendent force that even the Wanxiang Dynasty must bow down. Therefore, it is not an exaggeration for the Haohan sect to become the 4th transcendent force of the Wanxiang Dynasty. The vast city of Qinglong has never been heard of by Yi Xiaoyu, but it is not surprising that he has not heard of it. The vastness of this continent is far beyond the perspective of the Yiwang mansion of Qinglong County. For this world, each of them is an extremely insignificant existence. What makes Yi Xiaoyu very curious is, how could this person from the Lu family in the imperial city appear here with students from the Wanxiang Academy? Is there anything strange that is about to happen? Hey, will they come towards my extremely immortal medicine King Ding? No, the level of secrecy of the extreme immortal medicine King Ding is not something that this small Wanxiang dynasty can pry into. Perhaps it's because of something else. Yi Xiaoyu also breathed a sigh of relief when he received Qinglong's answer. He had not yet grown up, not to mention a high-level sex peep. Even the old man in front of him in the divine soul realm could crush himself to death by rubbing his fingers. End of this chapter. Chapter 10. Super Genius. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 10 Super Genius. Hey, look at that woman. Just as Yi Xiaoyu breathed a sigh of relief and planned to find a reason to leave, suddenly Qinglong spoke again. Following Qinglong's instructions, Yi Xiaoyu suddenly saw the girl who had just saved his life in the icy forest in the crowd. I didn't notice before, but I didn't expect her to be a disciple of the Wanxiang Academy. Yi Xiaoyu raised his eyebrows and didn't pay much attention. As if sensing Yi Xiaoyu's gaze, the young girl also turned to Yi Xiaoyu's side, with a friendly smile on her face. Hey, she won't recognize you, will she? It's unlikely, probably just a greeting. Yi Xiaoyu just nodded, then naturally shifted his gaze away from the girl and looked at the other disciples of the Wanxiang Academy sitting next to her. Unlike those few people, Yi Xiaoyu suddenly noticed that the badge on Lu Yunxin's chest was slightly different from the others. Yunxin, haven't you come to pay your respects to Uncle Yi yet? Just as Yi Xiaoyu was puzzled, the elder of the Lu family sitting next to Yi Jianfeng in the hall, Lu Wuchen, waved at the young girl. Young generation Lu Yunxin, I have met Prince Yi. Lu Yunxin walked out of her seat and bowed slightly to Yi Jianfeng, who was sitting at a high place. She was polite, virtuous, and neither humble nor arrogant. Not bad, your Lu family has produced a good younger generation. Yi Jianfeng nodded with a smile and gave a slightly approving sentence to Lu Wuchen sitting next to him. Huh, Princey flattered me. Lu Wuchen nodded with satisfaction. Lu Yunxin, the first genius of their Lu family, had already reached the 8th level of cultivation in the Yuan Mansion realm at a young age, and even had the potential to break through to the Divine Soul realm before the age of 20. This kind of talent is among the best even in the entire Qinglong County, and just recently, Lu Yunxin's qualifications were already valued by the high-level figures of the Wanxiang Academy. In the future, her situation will definitely not be limited to this Qinglong County. Dad, if you have anything to talk about, I feel a bit tired. I'll go back and rest first. Just as Yi Jianfeng and Lu Wuchen were about to swing the dragon gate above, Yi Xiaoyu below couldn't bear it anymore and stood up from his seat with a dull expression, digging his ears. You guy. Sitting on the main seat, Yi Jianfeng glared fiercely at Yi Xiaoyu and then waved his hand helplessly. If you're tired, go back and rest. When the dinner is ready, I'll have Ji Bo call you. The whole hall was completely silent. What kind of ghost is this? This is the Lingnan fierce tiger Yi Jianfeng, famous for its iron-blooded army. And the elders of the Yi family have long been accustomed to it. Yi Jianfeng is indeed a fierce tiger, but in sharp swords, there is also a generous side. Obviously, all of Yi Jianfeng's patience and kindness were given to this unruly third young master, and the third son of the Yi family, who was also the foolish son of the famous landlord's family in Fenglan City. That's it, Dad. After dropping a sentence, Yi Xiaoyu no longer ignored the stunned expressions of those people in the hall, and then swaggered around and walked out. I'm afraid no one in Fenglan City would dare to be so arrogant in front of Yi Jianfeng again without this master. Hey, why don't you sit anymore? After leaving the conference hall, Sun Qingling casually spoke a sentence. It seemed that Sun Qingling didn't really like the heavy atmosphere of the intrigue in the conference hall. If you sit down again, you'll have an accident. Yi Xiaoyu rolled his eyes in frustration. Just now, in the eerie atmosphere in the hall, if Yi Xiaoyu, who was like a human spirit, couldn't see any trace, then his intelligence was really insufficient. How to say it? What do you think the people of the Lu family in the imperial city are here for? Yi Xiaoyu said in an aged tone, they are in the imperial city, while our Yi family is in Lingnan, a place where 8 poles cannot reach. Why did they come all the way here? Also, didn't you notice that the elder of the Lu family just asked Lu Yunxin to call my father Uncle Yi, and she ended up calling him Prince Yi? How to say it? Sun Qingling's tone was even more puzzled. Hey, shouldn't you really not understand? Yi Xiaoyu's expression suddenly became very strange. According to Sun Qingling's strength, it must be the existence of breaking through the extreme wall of martial arts. People who can cross the extreme wall in this small world, even if they are genius, are impossible without decades of cultivation. Why does this guy behave like an idiot when he can even understand a 3-year-old child? Why do I need to understand this? I just need to practice. Only you vulgar people can go back and do such a wasteful thing. Sister, your mind is also a part of your strength. Why do you parasitize in Laozi's Yuan mansion? Don't you have any pressure in your heart? Believe it or not, I'll take you away now. Do you righteous people play like this? As soon as he heard the word snatch up, Xiaoyu's legs softened, and then his tone became more serious. Whether it's based on seniority or personal connections between the Yi and Lu families, it's not wrong for Lu Yunxin to call her Uncle Yi with emotion and reason. However, she chose the title of Prince Yi, which is quite distant. This means that Lu Yunxin does not want to establish a relationship with the Yi family. Although the Yi family is not considered a supernatural force in the entire Qinglong County, it is definitely a huge entity. And why did she want to take the risk of offending the 2 elders and distancing herself from the Yi family? The answer is simple. This time, the Lu family came to our Yi family to discuss marriage matters, and she is very capable. 8 or 9 is the protagonist of a marriage alliance, shouldn't it be an alliance with you? Sun Qingling widened her eyes with a curious expression. Otherwise, what does my dad want me to wear this python robe that symbolizes identity for? Yi Xiaoyu rolled his eyes in frustration. It must be because Lu Yunxin knew that there was only him, the most useless Yi Lao San, left in the current Yi prince's mansion, that she desperately refused the marriage alliance. You should know that the other 2 young masters of the Yi family have quite good qualifications. Whether it's his elder brother Yi Jizu or his second brother Yi Tianqing, they are geniuses who entered the divine soul realm before the age of 20. If the alliance is against them, even Lu Yunxin would probably be able to accept it. But if it were Yi Xiaoyu, there would be no need to talk about it. After all, Yi Xiaoyu is a useless person who doesn't even look up to the top performer in the Fenglan City Song and Dance Hall, let alone a Tianjiao from the Imperial City. Hehe, if it's true as you said, it would be fun. I actually want to reject a peerless genius with the immortal Extreme Yuan Mansion. I really look forward to the day when you rise up, how wonderful Lu Yunxin's face will be. Low.key. Yi Xiaoyu pursed his lips. He didn't want to say anything. What is the Xianji Yuan Mansion? I am a god. It is a god who once stepped on the 9 heavenly K, a Sirius and 800. End of this chapter.